Observancy, and let's open our meeting. Welcome everyone to the March 10th meeting of the Greenway. It's good to hear people's voices. I miss seeing you all in person, and I know that all of us are looking forward to getting back together again soon, and I think more than any other meeting before in the last year, as we've maintained our distance, we all, I think, see that as a possibility now on the horizon. So with that, Scott, why don't you call the roll?
Okay. Kitty Brown is here by proxy only. We have Kevin Burke, Jane Daniels, Betsy Jacks. Is Sarah Eidelman on the phone? Cindy Lanzetta is here. Deanie Lobu, probably not. Jane McLaughlin is here. Is Owen Rafter is here for Mark Molinaro. Dennis Murray has sent in a proxy. Sarah Olson is here. Is Erin Tobin on the phone?
I'm here.
Hi, Erin.
Hi.
Daniela Weiss has sent a proxy. Jeannie Williams is here, and Stefan Yarobek has sent a proxy. But maybe on the phone? Guess not. Is Wynn Aldrich on the phone?
Yes, I'm here.
Thank you, Wynn. And Vincent Altieri is here. Kathleen Bukowski. Carla Castillo.
Yes, I'm here. Good morning.
Good morning. Meg Downey is here. Bob Elliott is here. Lori Ensinger is here by proxy. Marcel Florestal. Andrew Liebert is here as a delegate for Sandra Galiff. Betty Head is here. Cameron McHenry is not. Mary McNamara, Rich Schiaffo, Michelle Smith, and Linda Vonderheid are all here. Is Joanna Yon here?
Yes, I am. Good morning.
Good morning. Excellent. Is Andy Bicking on?
I'm here, Scott. Good morning.
We have Linda Cooper by proxy. Is Aaron Drost here?
Yes, I'm here. Good morning.
Hi. So Aaron is here representing Parks as a non-voting delegate. But if we have any questions for Parks, Aaron will answer them. Fran Dunwell is here. Jamie Ethier is here. Is Freddie Garcia here? Christina Hingle? We do have Andrew Liebert. Leo Christian is not here. Tom, I missed your last name. I'm sorry.
La Liberty.
Tom is here representing the Commissioner of OGS. Lance McMillan. Frank Rooney is here. Jason Wolfganger and Owen Rafter are here. And from the staff, we have Andy Beers, Beth Campachero, Shannon Day, Dan Jensen, and myself. We also have Amy Bracewell, Joe Miner, and Emily. I'm sorry, Emily. I missed your last name from DOB. So we have a quorum, and we're ready to go, Kevin.
All right, let's proceed. Okay, so all of you, at least our board members, should have received an agenda in advance. I hope you've had a chance to review it. And at this time, I wanted just to see if any of our board members have comments on our agenda for today before proceeding. Okay, hearing none, let's move forward to approve minutes of our past meetings. The last time we gathered as a combined group here was on December 9th. It was a virtual conference call, and the minutes were sent out for review. And again, any questions, comments, concerns about those minutes? If not, I'd like to call for a first and a second to go ahead and approve those minutes. This is again for our board members.
Oh, okay.
Oh, this is Wynn. I move or second.
Wynn, and a second?
Second.
Who is that?
That was Meg down.
Thank you, Meg. Okay, we have first and second. All those in favor of approving the minutes of the combined meeting of December 9th, 2020, please signal by saying aye.
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 Aye. Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Terrific. Thank you. And now we have to approve the minutes from our recent grants committee meeting, which was held by conference call on March 1st, just about 9 days ago. And this, again, is just for those who are on the grants committee to approve those minutes.
Bob
Need a first
Elliott
and
moves.
second. Thank you, Bob.
Elliott moves.
Bob, and a second?
Went, seconds.
Thank you, Liz. Terrific. Again, for the grants committee, please signal a yes by saying aye.
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 Aye. Any nays? No? And any recusals? Conflicts? Okay, great. Terrific. All right, so I believe next is the Communities Council meeting, and as I mentioned, Scott mentioned, Barney isn't here. Barney isn't here today. I spoke with him at length yesterday, and he's in fine spirits. But I think conference calls are always tricky to get him on. But he's doing great and so supportive of what we're doing, and wanted to underscore his how impressed he is by the job that Scott and the team are doing. So, Scott, do you want to walk us through the council? I guess maybe we need to have one of the council members step in here.
Yes,
Just guide us through this stuff.
perhaps Wint is the other governor's appointment, could call the meeting to order.
This is Wint Aldrich calling the meeting to order in the absence of Chairman McHenry.
Thank you, Wint. We don't have a lot under the council, so I thought I would take the opportunity to give you an update on the Greenway communities. The Hudson River Valley Greenway is composed of 324 communities, including towns, villages, cities, counties, and parts of 2 boroughs. Only towns wholly within the Catskill Forest Preserve and the inland port in Greene County and the inland portions of Manhattan and Bronx are excluded from the Greenway in our 14-county Greenway area. To date, 281 of those 324 communities, or 87%, have voted to join the Greenway and agreed to consider our 5 criteria when performing land use planning activities. By becoming part of the Greenway, these communities are eligible to receive our Greenway community grants. Additionally, 5 counties have created Greenway compacts, including Dutchess, Orange, Putnam, Rockland, and Westchester, and 58 of their communities have become participating Greenway communities as defined in our legislation, and have done so by changing their land use and zoning laws to conform to their county planning compacts. Those 58 communities are eligible to receive compact planning grants as well as community grants. To date, we have awarded 381 community and compact grants totaling nearly $4 million. 48 of those grants are currently active. The business of the council generally is to accept new communities as either Greenway communities or compact communities at the community's request, and to award grants. With the current state moratorium on awarding grants, the council agenda is somewhat curtailed. Do any board members have any questions about that update?
Scott, this is Wint. I just want to comment just to remind all the members of both bodies that are present that this extraordinary list of municipalities adds up to about 1/5 of the entirety of the municipalities in the state of New York. And it's just extraordinary what you and your small staff are managing, considering the totality of the jurisdiction for which you're responsible. Well done.
Well, there's only 5 million people in our area, so that's a ratio of 1 to 1 million. We're good.
I have a question. This is Stefan.
Hi, Stefan. How are you?
I'm good. Good to be here. When you described the boundaries, you said the inland portions of Manhattan and the Bronx. Does that mean the shoreline is part of the Greenway?
The shoreline is part of the Greenway. The LWRP boundary of the shorelines in the Bronx and Manhattan are part of the Greenway.
Wonderful. I recall way back when they weren't, so I'm happy to hear it. Thank you.
I believe they were added in 1994, but don't hold me to that.
Oh, really? Okay. Well,
yeah, they've been part of it for a while, which is how we have been able to designate trails and water trails within within those communities. They are not part of the Greenway in terms of planning. That they are specifically excluded from the planning process.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And my wife and my store is along the shore in Lower Manhattan, so maybe I can get a grant. Just kidding.
So that is the entirety of the business for the council. Oh, yes. I'm sorry. There was another question.
Scott, this is Mary. I just wondered if you had any crystal ball to let us know when we might be hoping to get some grant money.
I do not as yet have a crystal ball. I think I suspect, and I will not hold anyone from DOB who might be listening in to comment on this. I suspect that should the COVID relief bill pass the House today and be signed by the President either today or tomorrow, that things might get a little easier around here in terms of things like that. But again, it certainly won't be before the end of this fiscal year, which is coming up in another 21 days.
Thank you.
Very good.
Kevin, do you want to open the Conservancy meeting now?
Yes, let's move right along to the Conservancy portion of the meeting. I call that meeting to order, and very much look forward to an update from you and from Andy on the trail, the Empire State Trail.
That's going to be Andy. He did the work. He gets the glory today.
Absolutely.
Okay, this is Andy Beers. Thank you for giving me an opportunity to provide an update on the Empire State Trail. I'm sure we did forward at the end of the year. We were very, very gratified and excited when Governor Cuomo announced on December 30th that the entire 750-mile Empire State Trail route is complete and open for public use. There was, as you can imagine, it was a sprint to the finish line for the Greenway and our program, but for our many partners, including New York State DOT, Metro North Railroad, State Parks, Canal Corporation, and many of our municipal partners as well, who were all sprinting to finish up projects by the December 31st deadline. So that was very, very exciting to reach that milestone. There were as you recall, December was a largely snow-free month and relatively moderate temperatures, which allowed us to hold a series of ribbon cuttings at year end around the governor's announcement that the Empire State Trail route is complete. Canal Corp held a session, held a ribbon cutting. These were all between essentially Christmas and New Year's in that period out in Herkimer County, where the entire trail section from Utica through to Little Falls is now complete and open. In the city of Kingston announced that the Hudson River Brickyard Trail, which is a new 1.5-mile trail running north from the city along the Hudson River, is now complete. Metro North held an event in early January announcing that the Maybrook Trailway, the new 23-mile rail trail from Hopewell Junction in Dutchess County running south and east to Brewster in Putnam County, is open. Fantastic new trail. And then Scott and I were joined on New Year's Day, January 1st. Scott and I were joined by Parks Commissioner Eric Kulisade for a first day ribbon cutting and first day hike and bike on the Albany Hudson Electric Trail. And Scott led a group of people that walked the trail, and several of us, there was no snow at that time. We actually did a bike ride on January 1st. So it was really a fantastic event to mark the completion of that trail. The completion of the trail got a ton of great statewide press, nothing negative, all positive, so that was very gratifying as well. We are, the work continues on in 2021. As you can imagine, with construction projects finishing up in late November and all the way through the end of December, although the trails are complete and open and safe to use, there are some punch list items like finishing up turf establishment, seating, some other minor items that need to get closed out this spring, and so that work will continue. We do expect that pretty much all construction the final closeouts will be done by Memorial Day of this year, so everything looks good there. We are going to issue a final report this summer on the Empire State Trail that really just captures and summarizes the many projects that were done and celebrates that and just compiles that in one place for future use. That will come out this summer. Another focus of work in 2021 is when the governor announced the Empire State Trail in 2017.
Hey, Andy,
Yeah.
let me interrupt for a second. Could I ask everyone who's not speaking to please mute your phones? We're getting a lot of feedback, and our minute taker is having trouble hearing speakers. Thank you.
Okay. When the governor announced the Empire State Trail in 2017, there were 400 miles of the route that already existed as parts of the Erie Canalway Trail and parts of the individual rail trails in the Hudson Valley. And of course, our project connected and built out those eliminated gaps and created the continuous 750-mile route. Now, we realized over the last several years that some of those existing sections were old and in relatively poor condition. And so the Greenway and our state agency partners, we're working together cooperatively and compiling and cobbling together some funding to resurface and just rehabilitate some of those sections that really are showing their age. And so, for example, in the Hudson Valley, we're still very much scoping out projects. So none of this is finalized, this work, but the sections of trail that we're looking at for potential improvements this year are some remaining sections of the Walkout Valley Rail Trail in Ulster County, some sections of the Mohawk Hudson Bike Hike Trail / Erie Canalway Trail in Albany County, and some sections of the Champlain Canalway Trail in Saratoga County. So those we'll have more to report on that probably at the next board meeting, but I do envision that we will be moving forward with some projects to resurface some of those sections so that the entire statewide route is up to world-class standard going forward. Another big focus this year is marketing and promotion. We did launch the Empire State Trail website, as you know, last fall. We are working with our partners in New York State Parks and ITS, I Love New York, to make some enhancements to the website that will be completed over the course of 2021. The website just is getting a lot of traffic. Just around the week that was around at the end of the calendar year when the governor announced the trail was done and all that press, we got more than 50,000 visitors to the website in a 5-day period, for example. So people are definitely using it. That as we expected, the website use tailed off a little during the winter. But now it's starting to pick up again, as we get into the spring, and people are really excited with this warm weather to get their bikes out or go out for a walk and get outside. So that's all good. I'm sorry?
So,
okay.
Right, yeah.
Okay, perfect. So I'm going to put it in the back there?
Oh,
Yes.
if anyone can mute their phones, we're getting a little feedback. Thank you.
Okay.
Another marketing and promotion effort for this year is the governor and the state of the state, Governor Cuomo, announced something called the Empire State Challenge that will be some events and ways to promote the trail, to get new users who are not traditional trail users out on the trail. That's gonna evolve over the course of the year because still, although we're making progress on the pandemic, New York State, I Love New York, they're not encouraging people to visit New York from across the country and across the globe. So a lot of this will be more aimed at local trail users, but we are working on several initiatives, and we'll have an announcement soon. Some of these will be virtual events where people go out and visit the trail. They sign up and they visit the trail on their own initiative, individually and in small groups. So we expect that more to come on that. And then the last thing I would say is that, while there's no official announcement yet, there is an expectation that there will be a consolidated funding application grant round this year. So, the many state grant programs that are administered by the Office of Parks and Recreation, Historic Preservation, by Department of State, Canal Corp, and others that have funding sources that are available for trail programs. We're hopeful there will be a grant round for that in 2021. And the expectation is New York State DOT will be holding a transportation access program, TAP, a TAP grant program around. Those are federal funds that come to New York, that would occur this year as well. So we're waiting for formal word on that. But those kinds of monies, rail trail projects and bike lanes and those kinds of biking and pedestrian improvements fare very well in that federal TAP grant round as well. So stay tuned for more on that. If there are, if and when those grant programs are initiated this year, certainly we'll send out notice to the board so everyone's aware of that. Switching gear to the Albany Hudson Electric Trail, we had significant use of the trail through the winter. Everyone now, it's quite clear that using trails in small groups, you're outdoors, you're socially distanced, it's safe, and it's just a great way for people to get out all through the winter on our Albany Hudson Electric Trail and exercise and rejuvenate their spirits. The Albany Hudson Electric Trail, like most of the Empire State Trail, is not plowed in the winter. So when we finally did get snow the second half of January through February, people were out there cross-country skiing, snowshoeing, or just walking as the snow conditions allowed. And now it's all melted, and we can just see a big uptick particularly this week in trail use. We do have some minor punch list items on the Albany Hudson Electric Trail. Again, just tidying up some grass establishment along the trail and other things that just need to be completed. So our construction contracts with our two contractors remain open through May 31st. And just to notch off all those small remaining items. Again, the trail is open and it's perfectly safe to use. It's just some cleanup issues as we close out those contracts. The last thing for Albany Hudson Electric Trail, and this relates, I'll give the microphone back to Scott in a second, is one of the issues that arose with the Albany Hudson Electric Trail this fall and winter, even before the trail was officially announced as open, is we got a lot of use and sometimes, frankly, filling up and even overwhelming our available parking along the trail. We have 9 designated trailhead parking areas that we created along the 36 miles, but on nice warm days, there were times when the parking lots were full and people were parking along the entrance roads and everything else. And so we do have an initiative. We've identified some opportunities to create some additional parking areas at strategic locations along the trail where we don't have any nearby parking. And so we are working with our involved municipalities to potentially build out some additional parking, modest, but additional parking at those locations as well. And we do have a seeker, we have a resolution we're going to ask the board, the Conservancy Board, to take up today. We reviewed all those locations under seeker as is required. We don't have any potential adverse environmental impacts under seeker, but we do have that item to take up. So Scott, do you want to lead us through that resolution, or we can take questions as well from the board?
Well, why don't we take questions from the board about your report, and then I'll jump into the seeker.
Okay.
No questions, but I'm thankful for all this great news.
Thank you.
This is Vince from Rockland. I don't know if the prior speaker was done or.
Yes.
Oh, it's Vince from Rockland. Going back to the last meeting, we had looked at the map and, we had thought that the extensions would somehow be recognized more. We went through that process to get a grant to put together an extension here, and it seemed to be where the extension was sort of recognized as something more than just a trail that connects. I mean, there's already trails that connect, so what would have been the purpose of redesignating? I mean, it's a great program. I guess we were just looking forward to somehow greater identification and perhaps marketing for the extensions.
So Vince, this is Andy Beers. If you want to just call me or reach out to me or send me an email after the meeting here, I'm happy to jump on the phone and talk through some ideas on that.
Oh, that'd be awesome. Thank you. Okay.
Yep.
Anyone else?
Hi, this is Jane McLaughlin. No questions, but great job, Andy. This is just an amazing resource for New Yorkers and tourists. So thank you.
And
I agree from Sarah Olson. Kudos. Terrific.
I agree. This is Kevin. It's so big and monumental that it's almost hard to take it in. Right? It's like because of the COVID year, we haven't been able to gather and celebrate it in person properly. But I do hope we can do that in the future as a board. It's just a crown jewel for New York, and I think it's really, I think because we're so close to it, it's almost hard to have perspective on how important and major it really is. So congratulations, Andy, and the whole team.
Yeah, certainly, Kevin. This is Andy. I mean, we'll just have to see how the year plays out, but certainly it would be terrific this fall if we have an opportunity to schedule a site visit for board members who are interested to go out and see the finished trail. We did, Kevin and Barney and Jane and others joined us for a site visit back in the planning stage, and had a sense of the challenges involved. And I can say for our entire team for the Albany Hudson Electric Trail and for the whole project, but certainly for the Albany Hudson Electric Trail, the finished trail, frankly, came out better than we even hoped, right? And it's just very exciting, and the level of use that it's getting, and just the incredible positive feedback we're getting. It's really a signature achievement for the Greenway, and it would be great to certainly get an opportunity, perhaps in the fall. I'm hoping on a nice fall day when we could get out there early fall and actually do a site visit. That would be a welcome opportunity.
Yes, it would. I wanted to add one thing. With the completion of the Empire State Trail, we've also completed an end-to-end route for the Hudson River Greenway Trail, Hudson River Valley Greenway Trail, which now starts at the Battery in Manhattan and ends in Waterford, or in Whitehall. And Governor Andrew Cuomo announced the completion of this trail 29 years to the day after his father signed the legislation creating the Greenway and directing us to create this trail. So that's just one little oddity that, for people who like numbers and things that turn out roundly, I thought that was pretty interesting. So moving into the additional parking seeker approval. Our consultants, GPI, has created a plan to build 4 more parking areas at Southern Avenue and East Greenbush. This would be 12 spaces. Rice Road and Skodak, 5 spaces. Depot Street and Chatham, 7 spaces. And Sunnyside Road and Stuyvesant, 3 spaces. Construction of these sites, as Andy said, is dependent on either community or National Grid approval and will not be built without it, although we are doing the seeker and we do anticipate all of the communities agreeing to this. East Greenbush has provided that approval, and that site I think is on track to be built this year and probably done before the spring is over. There is time pressure for us to do seeker, as by the time of our next meeting, our contract with the construction firm that built AHET will have expired. We also expect to have, as I said, these approvals shortly. So we either do seeker today or we're going to have to call a special meeting of the Conservancy. So Andy and I and Kevin thought that this was probably the best way to go. With that, if anyone has any questions about the seeker, I'm probably going to defer to Andy because he can answer the specifics. But if not, then Kevin, we should probably do a separate vote on the seeker rather than combining it with everything else.
Sounds good, Scott.
So, Stefan, I move to approve the seeker process.
Thank you, Stefan.
I'll second that. This is Sarah.
Perfect. Thank you, Sarah. I don't hear any other comments, so I might as well proceed to a vote. All those in favor on the Conservancy Board, please signal assent by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
All right, terrific. Thank you.
All right. Next items are 2 trail designations. We have a water trail designation for Kralow State Historic Site as a Greenway water trail site. Fort Kralow is located in the city of Rensselaer and has a small beach landing that they hope to develop into more robust water-based recreation facilities in order to attract more visitors to the site. They are seeking designation as both a hand launch and a day use site. The second one is for Mohawk Preserve Foothills Trail, 3.5 miles of trail between Testimonial Gateway on Lenape Lane and Duck Pond Contact Station on Duck Pond Road. The Greenway has supported this project with 2 grants. First, a connectivity planning project in 2012-13 that helped figure out how to do this trail, and the latter, an interpretive signage grant in 2016. Both were successfully completed. Do any of the board members have any questions on either of these designations? If not, Kevin, we could do a vote on these now and then move into the Heritage Area meeting.
Great. Okay. So same process we just went through with seeker. We'll need Conservancy Board approval, and that begins with a first and a second. So can I have a motion for that?
This is Jane Daniels. I move you accept them.
Thank you, Jane. And a second?
Stefan?
Terrific. Thank you, Stefan. All those in favor, please say aye.
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 Okay. And are there any opposed? Great. Okay, thank you very much. With that, we can go right into the National Heritage Area portion of the meeting where we actually can give some grants. And again, on behalf of Barney and myself, I'm happy to open that up and turn it right back to Scott.
All right. We have 3 requests for funding today that we're recommending. The FASNY Museum of Firefighting has requested, and the Grants Committee proposes $5,000 for a STEM in the Hudson Valley virtual program. This would allow them to create a new virtual program that focuses on the corridor of commerce theme and the industrial and technical innovations that occurred within the fire service. They will include in this program information about the Hudson Valley's premier steam engine company, manufacturing company, not fire company, Clapp & Jones. They work with schools that serve low-income and minority populations all over New York State via distance learning. This including, but not limited to, the Hudson City School District. 25.6% of the population of Hudson is living below the poverty line, and almost 20% of all households are headed by a single parent. Visitorship to FASNY is 36% of what it was over the past 2 years when compared to 2020. And this facility is one where we have seen a steady and pronounced growth since we began providing grants to them up until the pandemic hit. The next grant request is from the Fullerton Center called Downing in Newburgh. They've requested, and the Grants Committee proposes $5,000 for the center to investigate and document the extant features of the birthplace, villa, and landscape of nationally renowned Andrew Jackson Downing. The grant will hire professionals to document surviving features, prepare reports, and create an interpretive map, apply for an historic marker to secure his heritage in Newburgh. They have permission and support letters from all landowners. The lead applicant on this is related to Joanna Yawn, so she is going to abstain on this grant. Vote just on that one, not on the other 2. The third grant is for Untermeyer Gardens Conservancy, a video series, Garden Walks with Timothy. The Conservancy has requested, and the Grants Committee proposes $5,000 to support a series of 20 videos, creation of a series of 20 videos over 12 months featuring their head gardener, Timothy Tilgman. Each video will average 5 to 6 minutes in length and explore a different area of the garden. The videos will be free and shared through the Conservancy's newsletter and website. They've already done a few prior to requesting this grant, and we've reviewed them, and they are well done and interesting. Do any board members have any questions on these grants? Right. And Kevin, I think we need a vote on these.
Great. Okay. So this is the same process. We need a motion and a second to create these terrific grants. Okay, Bob, and a second.
I second it,
This is
Meg.
Wynn. I second it.
Okay, I think there might have been a third in there too. So thank you very much for that. And let's all signal our assent by saying aye. We approve.
Aye.
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 The noes. And we do note that one abstention recusal on Joanna's part. All right, terrific, great. Okay, Scott, do you want to talk about the brochure now? Which is just
yes.
Wonderful.
Yep. In 2018, Stefan Yarbeck asked if we should create a Dutch Native American heritage brochure. the Heritage Area Management Committee was briefed and approved the project. Working with one of Stefan's students, Allison Jungkurth, we received a 12-page white paper and a draft brochure layout. Over the next year, we worked with OPRHP's staff and a text editor to cut the white paper down to a brochure-length text. In 2020, we received a $25,000 grant from the Dutch consulate in the U.S. for designing and printing the brochure. I am pleased to announce that the brochure has been completed and we have 250,000 copies that will shortly be available to our heritage sites. There are some warehouse issues with getting them mailed out right now, but we anticipate being able to mail them by the 15th of this month. We also have permission from the governor's office to send out a press release on this. The project has come in well under budget. It's come in slightly over 50% of what we originally thought it was going to cost. So the state procurement process in this case worked very well for us. All board members should already have received a copy of the brochure, which came in last week. If you haven't, please email Shannon or myself and let us know, because we did send one to everyone, and if you didn't get it, it means we don't have your right address. Once the brochure is available to be mailed, we will post it on the Heritage Area website along with the larger white paper that Allison created, which provides more in-depth information than would fit in the brochure. Does anyone have any questions about the brochure?
Just a comment. This is Sarah Olson. It looks terrific, and I think it's a wonderful addition to the outstanding series of brochures that the Heritage Area has produced.
Well, the brochure racks that we sent everybody, Sarah, had slots for 6 brochures, and up until now we've only had 5. So now we're saying we've completed the series because we have no more room.
Well, you can always make new racks.
Yeah. Well, we didn't make these. They're plastic, and we bought them and have distributed them to all the heritage sites. So that's all I have on that. I would move into my executive director's report, and I want to start by asking Andy Bicking to introduce Scenic Hudson's new executive director for policy, advocacy, and science, Rocky Aguirre, and I hope I pronounced that right.
Thanks, Scott, for giving us some room to introduce Rocky. And we're really glad that he has joined our organization as our new Executive Director of Policy, Advocacy, and Science. He will be working very closely with me, Haley Carlock, who is our Director of Advocacy, and Naba Tabak, who is our Director of Conservation Science, to really move all of our programs forward in the region. So we're really glad he's here. He's got some wonderful experience that I think will benefit the Hudson River Valley. But without further ado, I'll just let Rocky manage his own introduction.
Thank you, Andy, and thank you, Scott. I really appreciate the opportunity to meet this group and partake in this discussion. Really quickly, someone who has deep connections to the greater Hudson Valley region. I grew up in Ellenville with strong family connections to the Bronx, and professionally I've worked in the Catskills and Finger Lakes and most recently in the Adirondacks. Excited to be moving home, also excited to be working with Andy and the larger Scenic Hudson team and bringing the past 26 years of conservation experience to Scenic Hudson. Briefly, I started my career as a ranger and resource manager with the National Park Service and other federal land management agencies across the country. Moved to open space protection with various land trusts in the Northeast, and that's what brought me back closer to home originally. And have spent the last 8 years doing policy and advocacy work as the Director of Conservation for the Adirondack Council in the High Peaks region. And really appreciate the chance to meet folks and look forward to working with this group in the future, and just really appreciate the opportunity to be here. So thank you, Scott.
Oh, thank you and welcome.
Yes, welcome. We're delighted. Scenic Hudson is one of our most important partners, and we are all about collaboration at the Greenway, so it's great to welcome you, and we look forward to working with you. Thank you very much.
Ditto.
All right, so let's wrap this up. Finishing my executive director's report, I did not do a written one this time, as you probably noticed by the smaller size of your packet. the Greenway staff is continuing to work from home with 5 staff making trips into the office or working in the field on a weekly basis. 5 out of 6 of us. We are hopeful that by the fall we may be back in our office full time. Having the ability to work from home will give us additional flexibility for future operations. We are planning a Ramble event for September, but will not be doing a large-scale printing of a guidebook this year in case it turns out we cannot hold the Ramble. The upfront cost to produce a large print run brochure are too high to risk not holding the event again this year. Instead, we will create a PDF version of the brochure designed and posted on our website. And once it appears, we will be able to hold the Ramble. A limited number of brochures may be printed. We're just not sure what we're going to get for a response from our trip leaders, even if we are able to hold the event. Using funds saved from the larger printing from the Ramble and by coming in under budget on the Dutch brochure, we are exploring the possibility of creating a Hudson Champlain Valley's Guide to the Empire State Trail with Parks and Trails New York, and I will keep you updated on that. As always, I want to commend to you the staff of the Greenway for their continued efforts to make our programs operate smoothly during the pandemic. In particular, I want to commend Cody Arana, who is working part-time at one of the mass vaccination sites here in Albany. The governor's office put out a call for staff, and Cody, as he almost seems to do, volunteered immediately and has been working 2 or 3 days a week, 12-hour shifts each day as a flow controller in the vaccination program at SUNY Albany. Does anyone have any questions for me on the executive director's report or anything else?
I just want to say thank you, Cody, for what you're doing, and thanks to all the Greenway staff. Great job, guys.
Thank you, Scott.
Make one quick announcement.
Okay.
Regarding the Downing and Newburgh project that's going on, the grant that was awarded has to do with one aspect of it, which is studying the, basically what's left from Downing's era as far as the horticulture. But part of the reason that this project happened is because David Schuyler passed away last summer, and a lot of his friends here in Newburgh wanted to do something in his honor. So in addition to that grant program that's going to probably take place over the summer, all the work that has to be done, there's also going to be a small ceremony at Downing Park on April 9th, which is David Schuyler's birthday, and they'll be planting a tree for him in a plaque.
Oh, that's very nice.
Yeah, so if anybody would like to attend that, it'll be a public event with his family involved.
Yeah, David was a great guy and a terrific historian. I'm glad they're doing that. Thank you, Joanna.
Joanna, what time is that ceremony? Do you know?
I believe it's taking place at 11 o'clock. There'll be a short ceremony, a couple of speakers, and I'm sure if anybody from Greenway would like to say something, we could get them on the agenda. But also, there's going to be a small reception at the Downing Shelter House afterwards. So I believe it starts at 11.
Thank you.
Hey, that would move us to new business, Kevin, and I would like to ask Amy Bracewell, if she's still on, to update us on the status of the restoration at Springwood and maybe tell everybody about the tour that you offered last week.
Yeah, sure. Great. Yeah, I'm still on.
Hi, Amy.
Hey, Kevin, how are you? You too.
Everyone I know who went through with you last week was just so impressed and excited about the change at Springwood. So I think all of us are excited to hear from you now about what's going on.
Oh, good. Yes, I'm happy to share. As many of you may know, last year before COVID, we had already planned to have major updates and renovations to Springwood, FDR's home here in Hyde Park. And so we had planned a full year of work, and then COVID hit, and it actually came at an okay time for this so that we could close the house and keep it closed while we had contractors and work in there. What we were able to do this last year, we upgraded the HVAC system, and we're able to upgrade it for quieter, more efficient units. Many people have never been on the third floor. It had the most amount of HVAC units, if you can imagine, in big industrial operation in a historic home. It was all on the third floor where the children would play and really lived. So all of that was able to be taken out, and we were able to get smaller and quieter units throughout the house. During this time, we also were able to remove a 2,500-gallon underground oil tank, and we switched to natural gas for the fuel for the building. We upgraded the fire and security detection systems. We are currently working on balustrade repairs for the north porch, and we'll be doing the south this year as well. We also gave the insides of the public areas a new coat of paint. Our curators are also working on conserving the books from the library. This is a 7-year process of all of the books. We are in year 5, and we're also working on picture frame conservation. We are in year 2 of a 3-year project to conserve all of those. So luckily we have gotten through all of the contracting pieces of this. The painters just left a few weeks ago. And so while it is still unfurnished, I wanted to open this up as an opportunity for our park partners and our staff to be able to see the house in this very unique manner. And so we held a very COVID-safe, quiet open house for our park partners this last Friday, and people were able to see these rooms and see the improvements to the systems, kind of a behind the scenes of HVAC, and I think everyone was very pleased, and I was thrilled that we were able to do that safely and socially distanced, and being able to show everyone. So yeah, that's what was going on. We still have a good ways to go. Our curators need to refurnish most of the rooms. We're going to take this opportunity while we're still closed to keep working on some renovation projects of carpet and wallpaper, and just keep making these improvements.
I was privileged enough to go, and it was fascinating to see that third floor. I'd never been up there and see the playroom that the kids used to have. What a great spot to be a kid, and also to see FDR's smoking room, which is not open to the public on a general tour, which was very neat as well. But your interpreter's description of what they had to do to the walls downstairs, because the walls are canvas, and they had so many layers of paint on them, they were starting to the canvas was starting to pull away from the underlying plaster, if I understand it correctly, and they had to go in, the people doing the restoration had to go in and inject adhesive to re-adhere the canvas back to the plaster before they could start the painting. So it was fascinating, and the before and after pictures were great.
And this is Betsy Jacks. I too went, and it was such a privilege to see the place exposed. I went with our buildings and grounds manager, and we had a technical tour. We were asking about pipes and sprinklers and those sorts of things rather than the usual questions. It was great.
Hi, this is Sarah. Hi, Amy. I just want to congratulations. This has been so long in the works, particularly the replacement HVAC. So this is really wonderful to hear.
Yes, I'm sure. I've been reading your files of the complaints about the third floor, and I know people would be really happy to know that that this has happened, and hopefully in the future, whenever we are all able to reopen, our interpretive team is certainly looking at new ways of interpreting the spaces, both outside for safety reasons, and then smaller experiences on the inside. And Would like to, the third floor is not ADA accessible, but perhaps on special tours, we may be able to offer that glimpse for people in the future.
This is Wint, and I too was on the tour on Friday, and as you know, had a good conversation with you. The smoking room is fascinating, and I'd love to go back when it's refurnished to see how it looks then, and then with others to work with you to figure out how it can be made at least visually accessible to the public, if not physically accessible. Thank you.
Definitely. Yeah, thank you.
You really did a good job of socially distancing, because I saw neither Wint nor Betsy when I was going on the tour.
This is Jane Daniels. Is another tour going to be given? I'd love to go.
We have not planned another tour. This was kind of a one-time thing before our curators were able to go in. But if people are interested, just reach out to me individually, and I will see what we can do safely.
Yes. 25 years ago, I went on such a tour, and it's neat to see it again. And I agree with Scott. The third floor where the kids' playroom was really neat.
Great.
All right, Kevin, I don't know if there's any other new business, or whether you want to, or whether we want to jump to upcoming board meeting dates. Does anyone else have anything they want to raise?
I'm good, and I thought that update from Amy was fantastic and exciting, and I think all of us are looking forward to the new normal when we can get back to the sites that we love so much in the Valley, and to just enjoy them the way we used to, but kind of, I think, having come through this experience, appreciate them even more. Thanks, Scott, for a great meeting. You kept us under an hour, which is amazing. Thank you to the team who worked with you to make this so effortless for us. And it's been a really hard year, obviously, to say the least. And it's amazing. We're such a public-facing, outdoor-focused group. And somehow you've gotten us through a really difficult time where we've just had to be on our computers and phones. So thank you so much. The dedication to you and the staff and their determination to advance this mission no matter what. So Scott, why don't you go ahead and keep us posted on the upcoming meetings, and then we can adjourn.
The next meeting is June 10th, and after that, October 13th and December 8th to close out this year. I don't know that we're going to be able to be in person June 10th, but I am sure hoping we are on October 13th. That's going to depend on the Park Service, though, as well as how the vaccinations take hold and how the public behaves.
Scott, this is June 10th is a Thursday. Did you intend for that?
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear that. You're breaking up.
June 10th is a Thursday. Did you intend that?
Yes, we did. There's a conflict with one of the chairs on the Wednesday, so we do intend June 10th.
Thank you. And thanks for all you do.
Yes, thank you. Yes.
You're quite welcome. It's a pleasure to work for this board and to work with the staff even more so. They're
wonderful.
They're good people top to bottom.
Yep, and we care about all you deeply. So thank you so much. Thank you, everyone, for attending today. And we will look forward to gathering again on June 10th. And hopefully by then, more and more of us will be vaccinated and in a position to get back to life soon. So anyway, thank you so much. Let's go out and spread the good news that our beloved Valley.
All right.
Thank you, Kevin.
Thank you, everyone. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.